and welcome to a special Game Over Here podcast on this wonderful 24-hour stream for Parkinson's UK. We have got a special guest right here with us right now from Parkinson's UK, the lovely Alexandra. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Hiya.
So let's get into this bad boy, and I want to know all about yourself and how you got involved with Parkinson's UK.
Okay, so I started volunteering for the charity about 6 years ago now, I think it was, when my great aunt was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And then 2 years ago, I actually started working for the charity. I started off in the supporter care team, and now I'm working in regional fundraising. So essentially what I do at the moment is I help support our regional fundraisers in the north of England and in Wales. So I kind of travel up to the events, I help plan things from the London office, and just generally provide event support, but also support for our lovely sort of people with Parkinson's, their friends, their family, whoever kind of calls in wanting to do some fundraising for us, which is how I found out about this fantastic event today. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got involved.
Excellent. No, honestly, that's really cool. Like for people that don't know out there, what could you kind of maybe give us a rough idea on what Parkinson's is?
Yeah, of course. So Parkinson's is a progressive neurological condition, which basically means that it's a condition that affects the brain that will get worse over time. Essentially what it means is that the brain stops producing dopamine like it should, and dopamine is what the body needs, or the brain uses, to control movement in the body. So some of the main symptoms people may get are tremors. They can't control their movement properly, they may get sort of slow, and they get stiff muscles. But those are some of the most sort of common symptoms. There are up to about 45 different symptoms that people can get, which includes sort of problems with sleeping, mental health problems with their memory, and no person with Parkinson's is the same in terms of what their condition looks like. So I had two family members with Parkinson's, and they were very, very different in terms of how their symptoms presented. And at the moment, just to give you a bit of an idea of how prevalent it is, there's 145,000 people diagnosed in the UK today, which roughly works out as 1 in every 350 people. So it's one of those things. I think we are diagnosing people earlier now, which is why it almost seems as though Parkinson's is getting more I can't think of the word to say, but it's not sort of more common than it necessarily was before. Yeah, exactly. But I think it's because we're getting better at diagnosing it that we are catching it earlier now. So there are sort of more people out there that we're looking to support and help.
That's great. I mean, I can't believe it. And just the sheer numbers there are mind blowing there for me, because I suppose I'm not as familiar to it as you and Lex are, kind of thing, on that level. But let's kind of get into what does Parkinson's UK kind of do? What kind of support does your organisation provide?
Yeah, so we do a number of things. Basically, our sort of hope is, at the end of the day, to change attitudes towards Parkinson's, provide support within the community, and ultimately to find a cure for the condition. So in terms of support, we have a helpline, we have local advisors, we also have local groups that people can go along to, and those are not just people with Parkinson's, those are for people sort of who help care for people, care for people with Parkinson's, sort of provide a bit of community support. And we're also starting up some fabulous exercise classes as well across the UK, because part of what the research we've done has found that exercise really does help. Certain things like yoga are really, really good for helping to control the muscles, which will sort of make people's symptoms dissipate a little bit, help them control them a little bit more alongside with medication. And so, yeah, we do eventually want to find a cure. We do a lot of research. We're one of the sort of the biggest charities globally that does research, and we work with a number of other charities as well to do that. But at the heart of everything we do, it is about providing support for those with Parkinson's and their friends and family as well.
Wow, I mean that's great. I mean, that kind of further cements, like, on, why we're doing this. I am like, I'm really happy that we are kind of trying to give money towards this sort of cause. So out there, please make sure that you are donating. We've got our Just the Giving link within our, Twitch channels and stuff like that. We want to make as much money as possible for this today. So Lex, man, let's. Why did you want to kind of do this? What brought you to want to necessarily put this together and for this great cause?
Well, 15 years ago, my mum was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I was speaking to her the other day, and she was basically saying that she's been quite lucky in the sense because it's not been like fast progressing. It's been quite a slow sort of progression as it's gotten. It's there's different types. You can get one that can progress really fast, and with my mum's personal experience with it, it's quite slow. I mean, she has started in the last few years getting more severe symptoms, but it's the way she deals with it on a daily basis. She's the type of person that will literally bend over backwards to try and help anybody. And it is the reason why I want to do it is just so that I can give a little bit back because, she's like the best mum in the world to me, you know what I mean? So, yes, that's the reason why I'm doing it. It's,
mate, that's heartwarming as hell, mate. Honestly, no, I mean, thanks for, putting this event together, and actually wanting to do something about it. I mean, that's the first step at the end of the day. We all want to, strive for, better health and, that possible chance of a cure and, anything that we can do to provide this is, it can't be wrong, can it?
She was telling me though that there's actually a new thing that's sort of like come in. People with Parkinson's apparently actually smell slightly different, and it's actually a way of detecting it as early as possible. She's actually started. A doctor asked if she wanted to go through a trial to see whether this, to try and work out whether this is actually correct or not. And if it is, then if you can find it even earlier, then it's a lot easier to treat as well. So hopefully something comes of that. So
now we did actually have a question in the chat from the Stag Beetle. He said, "Is there a common cause or is it unknown?"
It's genetic, isn't it?
Really, at the moment, I mean, there are some. It's one of the sort of questions of it's a kind of a little bit of some, a little bit of the other. We don't have a real sort of pinpointed reason why Parkinson's happens. That's part of what we are doing in terms of our research. Because if we can find what happened, what causes it, is it a family genetic thing? Is it just general down to genetics? Is it to do with environment? We are doing all kinds of research into that. Unfortunately, there just isn't 100% answer at the moment. So mostly what we're trying to do is look into that, as you're saying, that there are things about changes in smell, anything like early detection that we can do helps us then pinpoint why the brain is changing the way that it is, because essentially Parkinson's happens when the nerves sort of in the brain that produce the dopamine slowly die. If we can find what's causing that, we can then maybe change it, reverse it. We did do a recent study called GDNF. I can't remember how to pronounce the full thing of what that actually stands for, but essentially it was inserting a type of protein directly into the brain in areas where there was degeneration of the nerves, and that protein helped sort of rejuvenate some of those cells, not completely, but did actually reverse some of that. So, if we can do that, we could potentially move towards a cure. But also the fact that, that protein can revive it, maybe there's something to do with that is causing them to sort of deteriorate in the first place, maybe a lack of something. So unfortunately, there is still no 100% answer as to why people get Parkinson's, but it is part of what we are doing. If you ever look on our website, in our research section, you can see the massive amounts of research projects we have going on, and loads of those are catered directly towards, pinpointing the actual start of Parkinson's, as well as medications and, sort of controlling symptoms and things like that. But yeah, as of now, there is no definitive answer, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, Stag, that was a great question there. Thanks for that. If there is any other questions out there, please do let us know in the chat. But while we're doing that, as this is a gaming podcast, I think we need to get into them video games, Alexandra. So,
Yeah.
what kind of games do you like playing?
I mean, I basically spent. It was actually quite a while ago. You know, when the Batman games came out.
Oh yeah.
I remember one night where I think it was the Arkham City one, that I spent 3 hours sat on the top of a building just waiting for the perfect moment to kill these 3 people as they were circling around. And like those kind of games I've really, got really obsessed with. I loved Red Dead. I haven't had a chance to play the new one because my husband has been playing it, but he's finally finished it, so it's now my turn, which is great. And I've always loved Assassin's Creed as well. I think
yes.
I like sort of like puzzle type based games, not so much sort of real action ones. I don't mind a little bit of action in my games, but I do like things that sort of puzzling things out and a lot of exploring, open world games, things like that. And of course, it's not a bit, it's not like on a console, but I do still love The Sims. Can't help it. I just like to create weird situations and put them into it. But yeah, I think I am looking forward to seeing you guys playing Gears later, because I did love the older ones. That was pretty much the only game I ever actually got involved with, like online play.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be interested to see how that one, the new one looks. So I'll be tuning into that one later myself.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to that. Just because, like, I haven't really played too much Gears yet, like Gears 5 anyway. So, and we're going to be doing Horde and probably doing some PvP as well. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be a lot of fun. We do have a quick thing in the chat. It's not a question or anything, just some nice words that I'd like to pass on. He was saying it's a pretty awesome thing you do. Very admirable to use the power you have for good, be it through streaming or campaigning for awareness. Good job to all involved. So thank you very much for the kind words there. But yeah, I think that is probably about it. Is there any other questions that maybe Alex or Toby that you've got at all?
No, I mean I know quite a bit about Parkinson's because my mum has it, so it's. I mean, I know what it's like to have it, and.
I mean, I can't think of anyone like in immediate family that's been diagnosed, but I have something called a essential tremor, which is basically a very, very light form of Parkinson's. To be the best way to describe it. So like, and it will get worse as I get older in a similar manner. But my body just all the time, and it's mainly my hands and arms that it affects, but also affects my vocal cords. So it means like I get like voice breaks quite often, stuff like that. So I have sort of I have empathy for you, because I know like to an extent what it's like.
Yeah.
There are quite a lot of conditions that sort of mirror Parkinson's as well.
Because that was was a worry, like when I first went to go, like when I first went to go find out what the shaking and stuff was.
We have got another question from the Stag. He's got very good questions here, I'd say, as well. He's saying, what are the first symptoms and what should people be seeing someone about if they see it?
Again, because Parkinson's is different for everyone, it might not always present the same way. But basically anything that sort of shows a slowness of movement, if someone starts showing a slight tremor at all, if they're having issues with their memory, because a lot of time people will think that's maybe just old age, or maybe they're getting some form of dementia, because that can probably sort of like join in with Parkinson's as well. But any sort of like changes in their movement, changes in sort of their taste as well, worth getting it checked out. And I feel like, basically anything that is someone not kind of acting the way that they normally do, in terms of their physical abilities, especially, is something worth getting checked out. And we have, had a lot of times when people have got in contact with us saying they've struggled to get their diagnosis because doctors wouldn't immediately think of Parkinson's because it isn't one of those conditions that everyone knows about. So, if someone is going to the doctors and they are concerned about some of the symptoms they're having, mention Parkinson's, ask to be tested, because the earlier it is detected, the better. When my great aunt was diagnosed, it did take a long time to get that diagnosis because the doctors didn't know necessarily what was wrong. So one thing that we are doing is we have this thing called the Excellence Network, where we are sort of going directly to GPs and to hospitals to try and get them much better educated on Parkinson's, because it's not one of the sort of, the big conditions, I guess is the way that we kind of put it. It's not the first thing that doctors think of. And part of what we're doing is we're trying to raise the profile of Parkinson's so people do look out for it. So yeah, just to reiterate, any sort of change in movement becoming slower, sort of speech getting slow, anything like that, that's worth going to the doctor and getting checked out. It may be absolutely nothing, but best to ask the question just in case.
I think my mum, it took 2 years to get a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Our GP is not. He really isn't the best in the world, friend. She went to see a specialist, and the specialist basically said, after all the time, that she has got Parkinson's. And then our GP had the notes in front of him from the specialist, and then basically told my mum that she didn't have Parkinson's, even though he had the notes in front of him.
Right.
He actually sent an apology letter about 6 months later because of that, because it all got sort of like slowed down a lot because of that.
Yeah.
It was a very silly mistake, but
yeah, and that's obviously one of the things we're trying to combat, because we hear so many stories like that, and it's it's so upsetting. And especially if someone has a fast progressing condition as well, if it took 2 years like that medication by that point might not be as effective as as it could be. So it's really important that people do get diagnosed as quickly as possible. So fingers crossed things will improve. We are doing a lot of work. We do a lot of campaigning as well. We have people from Parkinson's UK constantly up at Houses of Parliament sort of campaigning on different issues as well. So we're doing everything we can to raise the profile and sort of raise awareness of what the condition actually is. So yeah, hopefully that won't happen too much in the future.
Yeah. We've got. We'll take one last question here, and it's from Miss Rotti. It's sort of on the same kind of things about the symptoms kind of thing. It's saying what test would they do to necessarily diagnose Parkinson's? So
they do a number of sort of tests, sort of like in terms of asking questions, recall, sort of basic understanding, and then depending on certain responses to those questions, then you would go for a brain scan as well. Again, it's all very, very individual, and it's quite difficult to sort of pinpoint exactly how different GPs would do that, to sort of do their diagnosis. But essentially, as I say, yeah, it's sort of questions like you'll say 5 words to someone and they have to recall them in the same order, or they'll have to answer some basic sort of questions. They'll have to do movement tests, so like can you do this, for example, and seeing if that's slow, if it's difficult for them to do, is there any tremor while they're doing it, all kinds of things like that. Again, it all depends on what symptoms they're presenting. So it's quite difficult to say,
of course,
in one answer really. Is
no, fair enough.
But those kinds of things basically, just basically say anything that is where someone should be able to do something and there is for some reason their movements are not responding in the way they should, or they've got memory recall issues, and then hopefully they would go further on to having a brain scan, which will get them diagnosed.
Well, brilliant. I mean, honestly, thank you so much for joining us today, Alexandra. It's been very insightful, and Alex also, we really appreciate you sharing your story as well and putting this whole event together for it. So is there sort of anything else that you want to maybe sort of talk about before we wrap this little section up, Alexandra?
Mostly I just want to say thank you so much for everyone for doing this event. It's I think it's one of the first of its kind that I've noticed through Parkinson's UK, which is great. And trying to, one of the things we're trying to do especially is to get younger people involved. And so I think, a gaming platform is a really good way of doing it. And I've been keeping an eye on the Just Giving page as well. There's some fantastic donations on there. You guys are doing absolutely incredible. So that's all going to go to do some fantastic things with Parkinson's. So we're really, really grateful for it. And I suppose the only other thing to say really is that if anyone would like to become a part of Team Parkinson's, go and do it on our website. It's a membership thing, but it's completely pay as you like. You can do it for free. You don't have to you don't have to donate anything, but we're just trying to sort of raise our voice, and we're hoping to try and get 7,000 people signed up by the end of the year. So we're halfway there, and basically, the louder our voice is, the stronger sort of the awareness of Parkinson's becomes. So if anyone would like to do that, we really appreciate you checking that out as well. But other than that, just thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed being part of it.
Oh, and we really appreciate
glad
it.
you
As
came.
well. Yeah, no, definitely. Right then. Well, we are going to be right back while we set up for the next section of the old podcast. But once again, we would like to thank Alexandra for joining us.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Cheers. And we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Took us a little bit longer than planned. Here we are finally at a Game Over Yeah podcast. It has been a long while, and we have got my main man, the guy who founded this wonderful podcast with me back in the day. We got the wonderful... No, you're there, mate. Dean Wards. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. How are you?
Mate, I am wonderful because we're still early enough in the stream that I'm not tired. So I'm sure that will change later on. So, Dean, man, it's been a while since we've catched up. There has been a lot going on your end, bud. So let's get into that sheet.
So me and my wife have had a baby.
Woo!
And her name is Melody. Thank you very much, everybody.
There we go.
So yeah, that's why my eyes are like stinging red at the moment. But yeah, it's a good experience at the moment. I'm trying to get in my game time when I can.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But yeah, it's been a really good experience. I recommend it to anyone that wants to have children.
Yeah, well, on your own on that one, I'm good.
I've got a dog. I've got a dog.
I got plants to take care of, mate. I got enough fucking shit already.
Yeah, if you don't mind your bank balance disappearing, you're good.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. No,
Again, plants.
But no, all love, man. All love. Honestly, mega happy for you, dude. And well, when I come down at Christmas or something, I'll have to pop in or something, dude. So
Definitely.
But so let's move on to the next person, my co-host for this wonderful 24-hour stream. We have got the most wonderful, the Rotty Pack, also known as Lexomac, Alex. How you doing, sir? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm holding in there, and I'm pretty sure I'll be all right. I hope towards the end of the stream. I hope so. A bit of background about me: I've been playing games since I was 6 when I got PS1, and then I got a PS2 after that, and then moved on to the Xbox. I switched sides. Got an Xbox, and then was it Xbox 360, and then Xbox One PC. And I've never looked at a console since.
Mate, I know what you're saying, because I mean I've got an Xbox One and a PS4 sitting right in front of me, and I can't remember the last time I turned on my PS4, and my Xbox One I only turned it on the other day just to make sure that I could connect to Arc on Xbox. That was it. That's the only reason I've used it. So yeah, they are sitting there collecting dust, and I am now PC Master Race. I'm one of those people that I hated when I was a console fanboy. Now, so.
Well, to be honest, I hated PC Master Race as well, especially when I came up to them in Sea of Thieves and I got wrecked every single time. I was like, I hate them, man. And now I am one. So And if No Pain was there regarding your PS4, he said the only thing that a PS4 is good for is a glorified doorstop.
You know what? It's a pretty good heater as well. Like I had it on like before. It used to be like down like kind of foot level on my desk, and like I used to, it'd be on, and like on those cold winter nights, it would be warming up my feet while I'm playing Destiny. Like that's that's what I was doing back in the day.
Foot spa.
Yeah, exactly. Lovely. I recommend it wholeheartedly. So let's move on to a man with many names, according to our Discord. Now, I met this guy at the most excellent festival that I love going to, called Tech Fest. I'm going to pull out my Tech Fest hat. You know what? Let's put that on right now. Let's get my Tech Fest hat on.
Is it working again now?
Here we go. Tech Fest hat. Oh no, not that one. I wish I had that one. No, I still need to fix that. We one day it will happen. I will fix that Tech Fest hat. But yes, we've got the wonderful Toby with us. So tell us a bit about yourself, dude.
Well, I have existed on this earth for quite a few years now, and started gaming probably when I was actually, I don't know, probably actually quite young, but like I got into gaming not through PC, but not the PC Master Race. Like I got into gaming through like playing Flash games and shit.
Yes.
Originally.
Yes, mate.
And then I think I got and I might have actually I think I got a Game Boy Advance, the SP, the like flip shell one.
Mate, loved that.
Like
yeah, I've still
about
got one.
the same time. So I didn't get my first console, which would have been a PS2, until I was in secondary school, actually.
Oh wow!
So I was quite late, like getting into that side of it. But then, like, I was always aware of like, and always sort of wanted to be on the PC side, but it's like a case of price point. You can like, back then, the newest console, you'd be like 200 quid and you'd be set for like the next 5 years or whatever. So it was pretty decent then. But yeah, now I've moved over. Say I have no particular preference either way. If you want to play console, I can see the advantages of that. But I just I just like having the PC because it's just everything there. Like it's a workstation. It's also the gaming. It's like it's whatever I need it to be.
Yeah.
FPS.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, and the FPS and just graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Most things, really.
Yeah, I mean, like I tried playing Ark on Xbox and was just like, shit me, this looks garbage. And I was
wait,
I'm moving over to PC. What?
I was given a Nintendo 64 actually before I got my PS2. And so that was actually my first foray into console gaming.
Love it.
But like my first game that was sort of modern times was Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh, okay.
And
Interesting.
Is that a rip-off of Sonic?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of the other it's one of the other characters, and it's weird because it's like I don't know, it was like it was a strange game and not very well received by a lot of people. I mean, because that was my first experience of like sort of decent-ish graphics. Like I was amazed by it. So yeah, that's just the way, And now we've progressed to this. I have a fucking I have a computer.
A keyboard that connected to the TV, and you put floppy disks in it. And I don't know what it was. I was very young.
C64 or something?
I don't know.
That might have been a different thing.
It had like 16-bit games in it and stuff.
Yeah.
He was on a motorbike, and you had to.
Could have just been like like you could get plug and play things that were like that.
It was like a proper. Well, it was a massive keyboard, and it just plugged into. Yeah, that was probably the first thing I actually played on before the PS1.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Commodore.
Yeah, man. I mean, my dad had Commodore 64, Atari, mate, just every console. And my dad was like an absolute legend.
Was it this thing, Alex?
What's what?
What's that, mate?
I just messaged you in the Discord.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
All right.
people in the Discord can't see that shit. So let's move
Oh yeah,
on.
wait, I can put it in the Twitch.
And
hang
we
on.
will get into.
Wait, where can I put it?
Don't.
Put it
Well,
in,
we'll figure it out in a bit. So let's
Sure.
get into them video games, boy. So I think we should go to my main man Dean first, and I see you got some of that Gears 5 in there, dog.
I have got Gears 5
what's
in there.
poppin'?
So I started playing that because it was released early for Ultimate Pass people. So I started playing it as soon as it got launched. I think it was not Thursday, but Thursday before.
Yeah, I think so.
Started playing online, and it launched very, very badly. There was lots of server issues, dropouts, all that sort of thing. So I thought, I'm going to leave it a day and then come back. The Twitter feed for the Coalition was absolutely hilarious, with people going on there just moaning about it and, like, you know, the usual, like, death threats and all that sort of thing that's happened when games were launched. Like, I don't understand why people think that's going to change a game.
I know, ridiculous.
But anyway, they've done a really good job of sorting those servers out, and it's actually pretty solid now online. So when you guys play it later on, you'll see what I mean. It's like you don't get any dropouts. Everything works as it should do, hopefully, for you guys.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so Horde is really good now. Apart from when you get to the wave 10 on each level, they've changed how the enemies spawn in. So it's now random rather than a set one for each level 10. So the one that we got was literally impossible. So I ended up rage quitting.
Good job.
on wave 10 of Horde. So I haven't got past wave 10.
Okay.
But Team Deathmatch on arcade, really, really good, really solid. I played King of the Hill yesterday. That's really solid. And Guardian. So Guardian is really good now. I thought Guardian was where you had one person, like it was 3 sets of 2, but now it's just one person that you have to protect. But yep, so that's how that works. And then yesterday I played like 5 games of that. That's really solid as well. Campaign, I've only got to Act 3. The storyline's pretty good. It follows on really well from the Gears 4 storyline, where Kate is sort of the Locust Queen's daughter, and she's kept this necklace that belonged to her mother, and she keeps seeing visions of the other Gears talking about her and how they should have like done something about it. But obviously I haven't finished the storyline yet, so I don't actually know what happens yet. But so far it's pretty solid with what's happened in the past, and it's following on really well, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
Cool, dude.
Can I just step in a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
No Pain has not actually got back in touch with me about playing tonight on Gears. So I don't know if he is or not. So maybe there might be a
space for you, Dean.
Yeah.
Might be a space
Oh,
for
wow.
you if you're about, man.
Cool.
So yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, hopefully you can come and play, because we're going to be. I think we're looking to do, because there's going to be 5 of us. So it's either Horde or PvP. I'm assuming that we can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll definitely look at Horde first and then go into PvP after. So definitely tune in later for some of that fun. All 4 of us are hopefully going to be playing. If everything aligns properly, it should be good fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Now I see that you've got another game that's close to my heart, man, for sure.
Yes. I do.
Now, I mean, obviously, maybe not the second one so much. I haven't really played it too much. I do need to do it, but it is a very cute little game from Level 5 called Ni no Kuni 2. And I see that you're going on about the DLC here. So what's new in the world of Ni no Kuni?
So I got really absorbed by Ni no Kuni 2 when it came out, and then sort of forgot about it. And then I went on the PlayStation 4 for like the first time in ages and noticed that all the DLC had been released for Ni no Kuni 2, and it was on sale. So I thought, I may as well just dive into that, and then proceeded to spend the entire week completing that game. This was before Melody was born. So yeah, just completing that up until a point where there's don't want to really ruin it for anybody that hasn't played it yet, but there's like a main villain in it, and he is the last boss of the last DLC. But he's notoriously hard, and literally I kept failing it. And then I looked online for any tips or strategies, and they're just like, yeah, he's just that hard.
Oh
You've got to be persistent and just use strategies. Get good. Yeah. So yeah, I've kind of left that on the back burner, and then I'll come back to it. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the DLC for that they've released. It's really solid.
Nice, dude. Man, well, I 100% need to revisit Ni no Kuni 2. I've still got it installed on my computer, and I keep meaning to go back to it, but I don't know. I haven't.
Have you got the PC version, or have you got the
PC.
PS4 one?
I'm on PC, yeah. So I definitely need to, because I know the first game, obviously there's the remaster coming out on the consoles, but then
that's next Friday.
It's so annoying that the Switch version is just a port of the old one though. So I'm like, but I'm kind of maybe leaning on it. I probably might get it on the Switch because you didn't play the first one, did you? Or did you?
I literally installed it and then never played it.
Mate, it's quite different to 2, really. 2's got a different feel to it and the way the combat works, but the first one I absolutely loved. I mean, you probably remember me and Dave talking about it back in the day on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
And we just absolutely loved it. But yeah, you definitely should revisit that first one, man. You really should. It's a good game. If you like the second one, I'm sure you're going to like the first as well.
Yeah, I definitely will pick it up if I think I've got it on my list for my rental games that I've got coming over to me. So yeah, I'll definitely give it a go.
Wicked, man. Wicked. Well, let's dive into, you know what, this is going to be funny. Let's go to Lex here, and we're going to talk about the game that we were just playing and doing really badly.
No hate.
Yeah.
No, I don't hate it. I hated the situation. That's what it was. It was a very, very... What's just happened? I've just heard a barking noise. Something just happened. I have no idea what it was.
Okay.
It was a follow. I don't know. There was something happened.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about The Forest. And if you have watched the stream all the way through, I'm sorry for the way we depicted it.
Yeah, not true representation of that game.
We put ourselves into a really stupid situation, and
yeah,
it took the whole stream to get out of it. So there we go.
It really did.
But yeah, the Forest. It's a horror survival. I remember Misfit, who's in the Discord, he was telling me that one of his friends played a nasty trick on him and just told him it was a survival game, and then all of a sudden all these cannibals just turned up in the dark, and he absolutely crapped himself. It's horror survival, and there is actually a story element to it. So you start off on a plane with your son next to you, and then you get sort of like loads of turbulence. Your son's actually reading the survival book, I think, from what I remember, that you end up getting later on. So the turbulence happens and you crash. You then wake up. I'm talking about the single player start of it. So this is slightly different because there's a few things that happen in the single player that don't happen in the multiplayer.
Oh, really?
As far as cutscenes, yeah, you see things. I'll go into it a bit. So you end up in the back half of the plane. Snaps in half. Basically, the other half is up in the mountains somewhere, and every time you do a different game, you're always in a different location. It's where you start, and you've got to basically find food. There's a list of all the passengers that's on the plane, so you get that as soon as you get there, and you've got to basically find these passengers to try and clue things together as what's been going on. And when you do find these passengers out in the forest, you'll never be the same again, because they've got things stuffed in orifices that is absolutely not normal, like mobile phones stuck down their throats.
Oh, I've been on the internet long enough. It's just not going to be that.
So you'll be wandering around trying to survive. You don't actually see the cannibals straight away. They turn up later, and because you wouldn't actually expect it if you knew nothing about the game. You'd just be wandering around thinking, oh, this is nice. There's a rabbit. There's a deer. There's a cannibal. And it's like, what the fuck? He's trying to eat me. So if you get down to the beach, there's a boat, and you'll see this man in red paint, completely naked. He all red paint on him, and he's on the boat. You know the boat that we're on about, Leon?
Yeah, I do indeed.
Boat in the sea. You actually see the red man there, and when you get closer to it, he disappears. But it turns out that he's basically the reason why the plane crashes in the first place. So you've then got to try and go into all these different caves and find clues to where your son is, because he's actually took your son, this man. Mm-hmm. So you put together, like, you find photographs, you find stories of people that have been there before. You've got to find this doll. So you find the head, the arms, the legs, the torso and stuff like that, and you put it together. And then once you pieced all this together, you come up, it actually sort of basically gives you the location of where your son is. So you have to then go to this location and you find your son, but I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Just again. Yeah, I'm not going to. There's a twist at the end, and that's about as far as I'm going to go on the story. Mechanics-wise, I think it is really quite in-depth with the survival side of things. For instance, with the water, you can't drink it straight from a pond. You've got to basically get the water and boil it to sterilize it, because if you drink it straight from a pond, you'll get poisoned and slowly die. You can hunt, so you can catch rabbits, deer, beavers, birds, turtles,
lizards.
No, not beavers. It's actually skunks. But yeah, you can get lizards as well. And you can either cook them or you can build a drying rack and dry them, so it lasts a bit longer. The food does go off if you don't dry it. You can build traps, and they're hilarious. Leon knows a lot about the traps.
I do. I'm very familiar with them traps.
To the point where he put on a trap count. So every time in the stream, basically every time he watched a trap, he pressed it. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know what was the highest.
I think it got to 4. I think that's where it got to. And then I think at that point I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go into these traps. Like.
It happens to all of us. You forget they're there. You just be walking around and a trap will just go straight in your face. But it's really satisfying when the cannibals go into it. I think what they've done with the sound and stuff, the trap goes off and it just goes, and the noise, it's weird, but it is satisfying. Especially shooting them in the head with the arrows. It's just a really satisfying noise, because they actually thud to the floor. They just stop dead and thud. Another thing you can do, you can actually collect when you kill a turtle, you can actually turn the shell upside down and wait for it to rain, and you can actually drink that water straight away. So it's on Steam. It's, I think, £15. It's also on PS4 as well if you play PS4. It's an indie studio, so I think it's a very small team. There's only about maybe 4, 5 max people that work there. It might have grown since, but that's the last information that I have on it. So yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it. Like, I think it's a cool game. If you like builder survival kind of games, then it's definitely worth a play for sure. And we will finish it. We'll do it. We will do it one day. Yeah, definitely. Because like each cave you go into, excuse me, you can find different pieces of equipment to help you through. So, like, for instance, the chainsaw, it's really good for chopping down the trees, and you can build better and you can get like variations of weapons and stuff, like a better axe or the samurai sword or stuff like that. So yeah, you can improve yourself as you go into. So yeah,
that's cool, man. That's cool. Right then, let's get into another game that I've definitely played as well. I played it on my Nintendo Switch. I'm assuming you're playing it on PC, Toby. We have got again a nice little game called Hollow Knight. So let's tell us a bit about that game, dude.
Yeah, right. So Hollow Knight is a 2D Metroidvania, jumping around platform action type deal. From a little indie studio called Team Cherry. They actually did. There was a prequel called Hungry Knight, and Hollow Knight actually features that same character. That was originally up on Newgrounds, so they go like
Oh,
they
I didn't
actually
know
go
that.
back a fair bit. Yeah. And they also have a sequel coming out called Silk Song, I believe June 2020, which brings
Okay.
a new character for us to play. It's one that's been sort of appearing throughout the game so far. Hornet, if you know the one I mean.
Yes, I do. I do.
The spear lady that's like, oh, you're evil, just like everybody in that game.
Yeah, that game is hard. Like it's
Right now, see, I'll come to this point because that's one of the points I'm gonna make, like about the difficulty, because yeah, right, but like one of the things I want to mention first is like the art style,
oh gorgeous.
because god damn, this game is beautiful.
It really is.
If you think like sort of early Walt Disney / sort of Fleischer Studios, who did like Popeye, so that sort of thing. Sort of think that in terms of the animation and sort of the characters and stuff. And then like the backgrounds are in a similarly sort of cartoonish style, but more detailed and like so atmospheric. Yeah, visually it's a very pleasing game.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's I think it's got that sort of retro cartoony look in the way that Cuphead has, but like they're different animation styles.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like what sort of studio that Cuphead is. Well, actually, yeah, Cuphead's a bit more like old Disney.
Yeah.
And
totally.
then yeah, and then Hollow Knight's a bit more like old Fleischer Studios. They also did Betty Boop and that sort of thing. And like the sort of the shape of the sprite of Hollow Knight is slightly reminiscent of like the big head, sort of smaller body, small feet sort of thing is there. As well as it being a very graphically clean game, the actual mechanics of the game as well are like smooth as. I mean, there hasn't been like I've played platformers before and just sort of thought like that and just sat there like, what the fuck, that's bullshit, because it's just like really floaty controls or any number of things, weird screen movements or whatever. They just make them a bit like dodgy to play.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, this is like so like every animation is like sort of millimeter to where it's drawn to. All the controls feel really tight in that. Like if I die, like it's because I made a mistake, and
Yep.
like you can feel it. It's not because like the game. I know it sounds like dumb, like because that is a thing. You're like, oh, this game is bullshit, but sometimes that actually the game is bullshit.
Yeah,
Like
agreed.
this, yeah, not one of those games. It's it's like I recommend people like check it out as well. Say a lot like, and I think smaller indie games like this, like when they do it really well, it kind of, I want to say it kind of like shows that like big studios a little bit like what they should be doing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because like the thing what I found with Hollow Knight is that, I mean, I suppose like with a lot of kind of Metroidvania kind of style games, is that it pretty much just kind of drops you down and goes, yeah, there you go. And it doesn't necessarily tell you what you're meant to be doing. It's not holding your hand. It's very much, you kind of find things out a little bit from trial and error, I would say. And I think, for some people, like probably me as well, because I'm an idiot, it's very difficult on that kind of level to kind of get to grips with in the first instance. But once you start to, learn more of the mechanics, like get some more power ups as such and that kind of thing, it definitely becomes a lot more palatable. But then
It's
obviously
very
Yeah.
they
much a
throw
learn to
other,
swim sort of situation, isn't it?
yeah, definitely.
It's it's a good like sort of segue on what I was going to say, because of that there's been quite a lot of all the reviews and that of it, critics were like saying, oh, this game is like hard as fuck, it's so difficult, it's punishing. From my personal opinion of the game, like I haven't found it difficult. There's not been there have been challenging parts, don't get me wrong, but I think people have like way overhyped the difficulty. I don't know, but I mean, maybe it's because come from playing, and again, there's the comparison to Dark Souls,
Yeah.
which I will make because there are similarities. You've got
Definitely.
like your the benches instead of the bonfires, sort of a limited sort of amount of health can be replenished. Say it's like that, and it's quite similar, like your soul thing to the Estus flask. Not quite. But I mean, there's stuff where you can get like where attacking stuff will raise your Estus flask in Dark Souls. That is the thing that heals you if you've never played Dark Souls before. I think in terms of like, I mean, I don't think it's quite as punishing, like especially in terms of enemies. I think in like movement and that, but obviously it's a lot more focused on platforming and jumping around and that. It's not like stupid. It's not stupidly difficult. The thing is, you've got to be patient with the game. Like you really do just have to like learn the game. I think depending on what sort of games you like to play anyway, if you like more reactionary stuff, then I think that'll be quite a thing for you, because the bosses compared to like Dark Souls stuff they ain't nothing, but that's a case of like Dark Souls bosses, a lot of them will kill you in like 1 or 2 hits, whereas with the with Hollow Knight it balances it out, like because you can actually you can raise your max health in Dark Souls, but it don't usually do that much. You can get like extra it's basically like a heart system that you have in Hollow Knight, and you can get extra max hearts. And it does, like, I think it balances out that level, like balances out the level of difficulty like quite nicely. So I think if you want a challenging game, but generally you're not that great at them, or like you don't enjoy them that much, but if you want to if you're looking to get into them, I would say Hollow Knight is a really good like entry point for difficult games.
I think that's a good shout, because I mean,
also
sorry,
it's got wall jumps, a double jump, and some fucking massive crystal dash thing where you charge it up and fire yourself off like a rocket. What more could you ask for?
Damn straight. Well, no, thanks for sort of delving into Hollow Knight there. I mean, I'm definitely going to have to give it another play. I mean, it's still installed on my Switch, so I'm going to have to just bust it out and, in short, get good.
GG.
I've seen some streams of it, and it does look interesting. So
it is really cool, and like Toby has sort of iterated as well.
Yeah.
The art style of it is fantastic. It is a very pretty game.
It's like it's strange because it's like it's comforting, but it's also like quite foreboding at the same time.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, no, definitely. Right, now let's get into my game.
The one
that like we've all been playing a little bit. I mean, I suppose maybe not Dean, but the rest of these guys, we've been playing this game. And I've been playing this game on regular streams every Wednesday, doing stupid things like going on Monsoon difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty on the game, and just getting my ass handed to pretty quickly.
And then we go on the easier difficulty and do even worse.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. That makes no sense, but we do
Well,
somehow. But yeah, this is the game from Hoppo Games. It's Risk of Rain 2. I never played the first one, so I cannot really comment on the first one, other than I know it was a 2D sort of side-scroller, like kind of the same kind of concept, because I see some of the same enemies there and that as well, and some of the characters that you can be. But the difference is with this one is that it is full 3D world, and it is sort of kind of randomly generated over time. I mean, I say randomly generated, like more like for the chests, and the sort of the different unlocks that you can get throughout. But it is like a third-person looter shooter roguelike. It's just it's kind of all of that. Bit of all of that. And like there's different classes that you can choose as well. Like, we're starting with what is his name right now? I have forgotten the guy you start with.
The Marine?
Commando.
Commando, thank you. So yeah, you start with the Commando, which has got just basically pew 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 pew, standard little gun, kind of thing, as well as like a nice little dodge roll, and I'm just trying to think what's the other ability?
His piercing round is the second one, and his R is like his rapid fire stun shot.
But in short, this game is really frigging cool, and I've been playing it a lot. I mean, a lot, and it's still only in early access. Came out in early access this year. I think it was around March. If I remember rightly.
We've still got like another fucking quarter of a game to come yet, at least.
That's right, because we have got no end game at this stage. Basically, you have let's say one life. I know you can kind of pick up extra, kind of like Dio's best friend to kind of like give you an extra life kind of thing. But you've got one life, and you just go through as many waves as you possibly can, going to sort of on every wave there is a boss, and then you defeat that boss, you charge the teleporter and move to the next stage. At the moment, I think, is it 5 different stages, I think, that we've got. I'm just trying to think of the levels. Let's see if I can find anything on it. Nope, I can't find anything on it. It's fine, I'll just ignore that. But it is really cool because of it kind of gives you that little sort of that mixture in gameplay. The cool thing about it as well is that you can play with 4 other people. So that kind of makes it even more interesting, and there's different characters that you can unlock throughout. My personal favorite that I'm playing is Engineer. That can have 2 turrets, and its main attack is like chucking like these sort of grenades. But the cool thing about the turrets is that they actually, any power-ups that you pick up throughout your playthrough, they also apply to your turrets. So, like, for example, if you get the bustling fungus, which kind of gives you like a health kind of regen ring, kind of around you when you're standing still, that also passes over to the turrets. So those 2 turrets can be 2 portable healing stations. Very useful. There's definitely more things that you can do, but there is some other cool characters as well. We have got the newest one being Rex, which is kind of more of like a debuff kind of character. Does a lot of the you can kind of slow down people with your main attack a little bit. Also, you can kind of drain health with its sort of big kind of ultimate attack as well. Who else we've got? We've got Mercenary, which is the only melee class that we've got in the game at the moment. And I mean, I know it's a personal favourite of yours, Toby. And then what else have we got here? We have got the Huntress, which I like unlocked all of the other characters with the Huntress because I just absolutely, it was an easy character to kind of get involved with because of the fact that you sprint pretty fast. You've got blink so that you can kind of teleport out of danger a little bit. You know, it's a short teleport, but it's very useful because obviously they can't hit you in that time. And it's got a homing bow as well, so in other words, like you just kind of have to aim in the general direction and those arrows will go to your target. The only sort of annoying thing with that though is that sometimes you're wanting to go for a particular target, like the boss or something, but it will go to one closer or something like that, and it's like, God damn it, just attack the target that I want. But still, very strong character because of the fact that you can actually sprint and attack at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then the last character, I can't remember his name right now. What
Rex.
is his? No, I did Rex. Rex was the.
Wait, what have you done? What's his abilities?
The one with the
debuff.
The slow one. It's got like tank.
Multi.
Multi. That's his name.
Yeah.
Multi.
My secondary.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Multi is really cool just because of the fact that you can have two pieces of equipment and it has two weapons.
Oh, mate, Multi can throw out the damage so hard.
Definitely. So honestly, this game is so good. It's totally worth your time. It's really pretty cheap as well at the moment. Like it's sort of around, I mean, like on Humble, I think it's around 13, 14 quid or something like that. And it's an early access game. So in other words, they're only going to be adding more to it. So I definitely recommend getting into it. It's very highly reviewed on Steam as well for an early access game.
I can definitely see him doing like DLC like later on down the line as well, because it's been quite a widely and well received game.
Definitely, but it really has.
You know, financially advantageous, I suppose. That they're definitely going to do it because they're just going to make a lot of money because it's just such a good game. It's addictive. It's really
it is. You're like, I just want to, you know, if you die and you're like, oh, okay, just one more round. Like, I was like,
yeah.
But yeah, well, I mean, on that level, if you do want to get a copy of Risk of Rain 2, I am doing a giveaway on this stream, but we need to go a long way on donations to be able to hand that out. We need to get to £750. And then we will hand out that code. So, but first, before that, we have got a code for Slay the Spire first at 500. So we need to get to that first, and then we'll be able to give out a Risk of Rain 2 code. But yes, let's move away from the games that we've been playing. And let's go into some games that we are really looking forward to. Now, I'm just going to quickly dive in straight away because there has been some new shit that has just dropped recently for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it has made me extremely wet. I am so excited for that game. Now, for people out there that don't know, I am a massive Final Fantasy VII nerd, or Final Fantasy nerd in general. I have loved that series forever. I remember playing Final Fantasy VII. That was my entry level to it. I remember my dad buying it on the PS1, Final Fantasy VII, and I remember watching him play it. And like for anyone that like has played Final Fantasy VII, you know that the beginning you're in Midgar, you're doing the bombing mission, you come in on that train, you're like, right, cool. We need to go and set that bomb on the reactor and get out of there. And like you get to a boss there and it's like the scorpion that sort of pops up and you're like, oh shit, that big fucking metal scorpion thing is going to kick my ass. And like, I remember watching my dad play this game and like he beat the scorpion, and then you've got 10 minutes to get out of that reactor. And I watched him fail again and again and again and again. And I've spoken to other people about this as well. And like, I don't think I know anyone who couldn't get out in 10 minutes on that. Like, for that bit there.
Oof.
So I mean, that just like, yeah, that's right. I'm calling you out, Dad. You're rubbish at Final Fantasy 7. But obviously, I played that game to death. I have played it. I mean, easily double digits. Like, completed that game because I just
How many
love Final
consoles
Fantasy
have you
7.
bought it on?
I have bought it on. Well, I bought it 3 times on PS1, just in the first instance, because I like scratched discs and stuff like that, so I needed another one. I have bought it on the PS Vita, the PS3, the PS4, the Nintendo Switch. I've also bought it on PC 3 times because because of like different versions of it and that is on how much of I am on a fanboy of Final Fantasy 7. So Final Fantasy 7 remake, I'm like, right, cool, come on, take my money. Now I know a lot of people have been like, right, okay, it's not going to be the same game, all that kind of jazz. I mean, like, it does say remake in the name there. Like, that's the bloody the hint there. Come on, guys. Like, I've seen so much hate for this game, and I'm just sort of like, I've seen the trailers, and yes, it is a very, very different game. Like, they've gone definitely down on that action RPG route, but it looks absolutely stunning, right? They are also, because they're doing it in parts, which is, okay, the annoying bit, but they're expanding on that story. So in other words, this first game that they're releasing for the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be set all in Midgar. So Midgar being, like, literally, probably like the first 4 or 5 hours of the game on Final Fantasy VII. Like, usually get out to the world map and there's a lot more shit that goes on, in short. But they've expanded that story for Midgar. And for me, I am really excited to see what they have done with those characters, how they've expanded the story. Seeing more of Jesse and Biggs and Wedge, because they were like, they weren't in it for very long because, I mean, well, you know what, I'm not going to... spoilers, they die pretty quick on the original Final Fantasy VII. So I'm really excited. I think they've done some great things with it. We're going to be seeing it next year. I'm hoping that we're going to see it's going to do well because I want to see the rest of the game. And that's the only thing that I'm slightly worried about, is that if they kind of cock up this part, that we won't see the rest of it. So I kind of get why people are a bit apprehensive about it. But, like, what we got to remember here is that we've still got the original game. That's not going anywhere. Like, people, I hate it when people are going, "You're shitting on my childhood," or something like that. You know, I'm just like, no, they're not.
Have you seen what they announced today as well? They're adding the classic mode in.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
I did not see that.
Yeah. So they're putting the turn-based bit back in for you,
mate. See, look, there we go. They're appealing. This is meant to be a fan service as such. People have been crying out for the Final Fantasy VII Remake since fucking the beginning of time. Like, it's ridiculous. The sheer fandom for this game. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. Fingers crossed it lives up to the hype, because it's been a long time coming. I mean, when was it announced originally? Like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, at an E3? I think it was something like that.
Wasn't it just the title as well?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, it's going to be soon, and then it's like not come out since.
Yeah, no, it's because the director of it is also the director of Kingdom Hearts, so he kind of shelved Final Fantasy VII so he could finish off Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, that is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, I mean, any of you other guys out there, any of you FFS 7 fans at all?
I've never played any of them. I've never.
It's fair enough. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I agree.
Fuck that weeb JRPG shit.
Love it. Love it. I love my JRPGs, man. I love them.
Fucking Pokemon's a JRPG.
Love it. And you know what?
It is. It's just you don't have a fucking team you all fight with at once. It's just fucking 1 versus 1.
That is a great segue. A great segue to Dean. Let's get on that Pokemon thing.
Yeah, I'm looking
Hey, that was not even intentional.
Go, Roy. Do it. Go.
I don't want to piss myself.
So yeah,
go.
They've showed gameplay now, so it looks really cool. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about with Sword and Shield is the Dynamax stuff. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out.
Yeah, it looks really weird. Like when I saw that Dynamax thing in the first instance, I'm like, what? So there's arenas where they can make Pokemon giant.
Yeah,
like
so
what?
like they're literally like the size, like double the size of the stadium, pretty much. I thought Mega Evolutions were like cool, but this is like a step too far. I don't think it's really necessary for Pokemon to go that far. Where you've literally just got a boss that's just eating your attacks the whole time. But yeah, we'll see what happens when it comes out.
I guess it's going to be a bit similar. I haven't got a Switch, so I haven't had a chance to try any of that stuff yet. But like, will it be somewhat similar to like the raid battles from Pokemon Go? Do you think?
Well, possibly.
I mean,
I think they might be a little bit harder.
It kind of looks like they are doing something like that because there isn't there like a main world kind of thing where you can kind of link up with other players and kind of do those kind of raid kind of things. I think I did see something about that.
I think you can do it in the open world, can't you? And you can join up with 4 players, I think it is, for a Dynamax event. So yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that they are kind of doing that multiplayer kind of vibe, that there is sort of that that they are kind of implementing that, because I'm definitely for that, because it's definitely going to add to like the longevity of the game. Because like I found like with like, I mean, and I loved it as well, like the Let's Go Pikachu Eevee kind of games.
Absolutely, yeah.
I did absolutely love playing those games. I thought they did a fantastic job recreating the old games there, in this new style with the sort of the Pokemon Go kind of catch mechanics. I think everyone was expecting it to fail a little bit just because of the whole Pokemon Go kind of thing, but it was actually really good. They did an outstanding job with that game. So if they can do something like that, and now we're actually getting a full, proper, RPG Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch, full 3D. I think this is going to be an absolute winner.
The main thing that I want to see is like, the actual battles in the stadium, if you can do that multiplayer, because they haven't really shown that off. If that is a possibility for you to do, because then it's the equivalent of having Pokemon Stadium but multiplayer.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And that's what kind of a lot of people want.
Yes. No, definitely. No, I agree. I agree with you. So now let's get on to something else quickly. Let's move on. Oh, mate. Toby. You have picked a great game there, sir.
Mate, I mean, I can literally describe the whole, like, I can do a 3-word sentence and just describe the whole like game and how I feel about it. Like so the game I am most looking forward to is Cyberpunk 2077. And the 3-word phrase is 80s synthwave orgasm.
Yeah.
That would about do for, like, I literally don't need to say any more than that. Yeah, I am so unbelievably like hyped for that game. I like to the extent where I will be taking time off work just to play the game. I don't expect to contact any other human beings for quite some time after it's released.
Amazing.
Like that'll be me, mate. I'll just be lost in the fucking lost in the Matrix.
I honestly, I can't wait for that game. Like, everything I've seen about it has been awesome. The whole
Because it's
Keanu Reeves thing was fucking
so
hilarious.
much, yeah.
Like,
I mean, there is so much stuff to do with that game that's cool. Because like, I love all the musical stylings that are gonna be in it, like the vaporwave and synthwave, all that sort of stuff. I love the visual styles that they've been showcasing so far. Like the whole idea of human augmentation, like body modification, I'm well into that anyway. Like, this game. There you go. That soundbite could, yeah, that's probably the most accurate description. Just me going, oh.
I think that's all you need to say about it as well. I mean, anyone in the gaming world kind of thing knows about that game. Like 100%.
Yeah.
Like is gonna make waves for sure.
Because this is, yeah, it's like, it's an interesting thing because I think there's gonna be like quite massive sort of nostalgia value for like perhaps some older gamers that might be going to play it. But then also on the, like, it sort of gives a big, you get to experience like the styles and stuff of that era for people who were, you know, like me, born several years after it all happened. So yeah, I'm just so, yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm with you, mate. Totally with you, dog. I can't freaking wait for that game. It's going to be so good. That's coming out. Is it next year?
Yeah, I think that's April 2020.
Yeah, I think so. And then I suppose just quickly on Pokemon. Pokemon, is it November?
November, I want to say 16th, but I could be completely wrong.
Well, as long as we've got the rough month, that'll do. Now onto a game that we don't even have any remote idea other than that it's coming out this year at some point. They have been extremely vague on that shit. They just said it's going to be early access this year. And
do you even know what the game is?
I do indeed. And they've showed a lot of footage of it, and it looks very interesting. I did speak about it on another podcast as well. Some good friends of ours, Resonance Arcade. But Lex, man, I want your take on this spicy game called Starbase.
Right. So this is really going to interest the people who enjoy playing space sims because it's a space sim. But it's a lot more in depth. You can basically build bases in space, and it's also completely like multiplayer, and it's very similar to your regular MMOs. So in that sense, they say it's going to be 100-player servers. I'm not sure if it's all based in like one solar system at the moment. So that might expand. As a massive emphasis on building, you can build your own ships as well, which is really interesting.
Space stations, mate.
Currently, though, they don't know how they're going to be able to cover the distances between each area. So they said that if you actually didn't have like a warp speed, it'd take hours just to get anywhere. So they need to probably put some sort of warp gate in or a warp
like
engine
in
something. Yeah, like in Elite.
In Elite when you just start driving normally, it's like 3 weeks to your destination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would quite like to just leave my computer running and watch that, like, to an extent. Like,
probably get
just
there.
A live stream of it, like taking that long.
Yeah.
So there's no NPCs. That every single sort of character you'll see in the game is going to be a player. So the chances are you'll probably get shot, because that's just what people are like in games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's going to be like Fallout 76. Just everybody fucking big old free for all.
So it's got a really interesting logic system as well, which you can basically program stuff to be automated. So you can basically automate, say, like a base to build itself it's really in depth. You can like write codes into the computers to start automating and making ships, or modules for the ships, or even bases and stuff like that. So I think that in itself, I don't know what people are going to do. I don't know what kind of sort of level of automation. I mean, there's people, I was reading underneath some YouTube comments saying that people are going to make a self-replicating army, and it's just going to completely wipe out the server. And then the only way that they're going to solve it is by switching the server off. But that's obviously the extremes. Like, but so my conclusion, really, all in all, it looks like a very interesting game, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing what people build. And
I think the more interesting thing that I've got on this is that the people that are making this game, right? No, like, just to put in perspective, the game that they made before this was the Trine series. So very different to what they've come from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right. So on that kind of level, it makes you go, wow, this game is ridiculously ambitious, what they want to do in comparison to what they've done before. They're not known for this kind of thing. So I'm slightly apprehensive on how they're necessarily going to deliver it. I mean, the footage looks good. I'm really excited for it. I really want to play this game. But
I'm not a one for like. I just had to check on the Steam store. Sorry to interrupt. Just because I'd never heard of this game like until you guys have just said it now.
Yeah.
So I just had to check on the Steam store. And I don't know why, but like voxel, physics-based shit, I have always very much disliked. However, this actually looks like it could be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything they've put out about this game, because I'm in their Discord as well, everything they've put out about this game looks really interesting, and I'm really excited to play it. But there's things like that I haven't necessarily spoken about, because I know they're going to be doing, you're going to be like mining and doing all that kind of thing. I'm more thinking about, how's the economy going to work? Like how if there's going to be no NPCs and stuff like that, how are we going to implement that?
Yeah, it's got to be
like
set
by
something.
Economy, isn't it? I think that it'll be completely player ran.
Yeah.
So possibly, just trading different modules and ships and stuff like that. I don't know if there's going to be a currency though. Is there a currency?
I don't think so. But the thing is that there's still going to be different parts.
I would think there would be. I would imagine there'd probably be there's got to be like some sort of an automated trade network type thing, like on No Man's Sky. I would imagine.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
because otherwise, well, I don't know, because I feel like that would, if they did that, then they could actually, have a set value currency that sort of regulates the market a little bit.
We had a question.
Really interesting idea, though.
We had a question from Ms. Rotti saying, "Can you walk on planets?" And I don't remember ever seeing any planets.
No, you can't. It's probably something that they'll probably put into the game later on. And I'm assuming it'll go down a similar sort of path as Elite in that respect, that it'll start off with atmospheric, non-atmospheric worlds first, because they're the easiest types of planets to do. So it probably will. I mean, because there is planets in the actual, game, but you just can't land on them. So I'm assuming later on down the line, that'll be the case, because it's probably what people are going to ask for.
Yeah.
Eventually. So.
No, I'm with you. And then, I like Alamo's message saying that Toby Alford is looking good. Love it.
Mate,
love it. We did have other messages before that. Like when we were talking about kind of history thing, I think Mr. Roy was going about the Commodore and said Encarta or Encartia.
Encarta 95. That was it was a basically you could.
It was like an encyclopedia.
Yeah, it was, but you could get pictures and videos and stuff up. It was basically Google, but offline.
Mate,
no,
Google.
I remember. I actually have a vague memory of that. I think someone we knew had one.
Totally remember that.
I think did it come with 95? But Windows 95?
No, you had to buy it. Did
you? Oh.
Oh, I seen a meme the other day. Catch me leaving Area 51 with my copy of Windows 9.
A talking animal. It's great. I feel like Dr. Dolittle. Love it. Right. Well, I mean, that is all of the games that we had to talk about there. I just want your quick take before we move on to Sea of Thieves, because we have run over a little bit. I want your quick take on this whole thing about the PlayStation button. Now, I don't want to say its name yet because I don't want to like sully your view on it. So, obviously we've got the triangle, square, and circle, and we've got that other button that's at the bottom of the controller. What do you name it? What do you call it?
Yeah. Oh, you mean the X, like it's fucking called?
Yeah.
Or as PlayStation.
Don't you tell me someone calls it a fucking cross button.
Or PlayStation have officially said that it is the cross button.
Or PlayStation are officially dickheads.
If anything, how it's the wrong angle to be a cross. It's not.
Yeah, a cross is like the fucking a plus sign.
If anything, you could call it the times, but like it's.
The times.
I don't think
the
they've been looking at pictures
multiplication
of
button.
Jesus at an angle.
Bob,
The picture on the wall is the cross on the wall has just gone on the wonk.
and also a cross is actually higher in it. It's a little bit higher.
Like, a cross is a very specific
thing. It's an X.
Sign of the cross.
So yeah, PlayStation are like fucking wrong'uns.
Mate, I honestly, it made me laugh so hard when I saw that whole thing. That whole thing, like
it's like fucking whoever it was, like they were going to change the name of salad cream to sandwich cream or some shit.
What?
Yeah, because
the
people...
amount of innuendo they would get from that.
Oh my god, Crossbox won! Crossbox! That's fucking excellent. My Crossbox 360.
Oh my god.
Cross marks the spot. That classic pirate saying.
We're going to see a lot of crosses next.
Oh yeah, we are definitely.
Hopefully, anyway.
Well, yeah.
Oh wait, this one's a little bit far field. My cross is an absolute bitch.
Oh,
hey,
Shazam! Right, so I think that probably does it for our podcast section here. There is a few people that did follow throughout this section, and I apologise for not shouting you out. I will get into that later. I will look through and make sure it's already there for when we get into Sea of Thieves. But first up, I do need to massively thank Dean for your time, my man. Thank you for coming to join us. Hopefully, he will be about for some gears later on as well. That should be around 10:30, hopefully, after our Sea of Thieves session. So we're going to take... Sorry.
No pain. He did message me back. Sorry, he will be.
Oh, he will be about. No.
Sorry, man.
Sorry, Dean.
I'm sorry.
But all right, none of you. So Dean, just fuck off, mate. Just fuck off, mate. Nah, he's joking. I love you, man. I love you. Like.
Oh dear.
The savagery.
I know. Sick burns right now.
I can't believe you've done this.
Classic.
You fill me up and then you let me down.
Yeah,
I do apologise.
Smash you
I'm
down.
Sorry.
That's what we do, mate.
Have another game.
Yeah, man. Dean, we'll sort it. We'll sort something out. We'll sort something out in the future.
Lex,
yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I'll wait till this is finished.
Yeah, we will get out of here now. We'll get out of here. I mean, maybe a podcast may happen again in the future. Maybe with some of these guys that we've got here as well. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It has been a pleasure being back. I want to thank Alexandra once again, who did join us earlier in the podcast to talk about Parkinson's UK. That's obviously what we are here for. So please make sure that you do donate to this wonderful cause.